Market significantly off lows. Nifty Sensex now trade marginally in the green. FMCG, infra and IT stocks leads while the metals and realty lag. Zomato has received a GST demand of over 400 crore rupees along with a penalty of 400 crore rupees and interest charges. The food delivery to quick commerce leader has and says that it has a strong case against the levy, and the stock starts off on the news. Consumer price inflation cooled in November to 5.48%, in line with the estimate of 5.5% and down from 6.2% in October. The softer print lifts hopes of a rate cut by the RBI in February, though food inflation stays elevated at 9%. Bajaj Auto surpasses Ola Electric and TVS Motor to take the lead in the electric two-wheeler space with 28% market share in December as per the latest Vahan data. Ola's market share has dropped from 52% in April of this year to 18% now. 18-year-old D. Gukesh becomes the youngest world chess champion, breaking the record long held by the Russian Grandmaster Garry Kasparov. He wins the title on defeating China's Ding Liren in the final game. Hello, good afternoon. You've tuned into Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18 and I'm Vinny Motiwala. Surely we did see a good afternoon shaping up because at 12 o'clock we suddenly saw the market seeing a recovery coming in. Nifty has recovered 400 points from the day's lowest point. The day's low was almost around 24,215 levels. Look at the day's high. As of now, also trading at the day's highest point. So we're watching out for 24,657 is what the Nifty is trading at. 0.4% of gain, and that too after trading in the red at the get-go. So yes, a good recovery that we've seen coming in the markets. Let's look at the top contributors that are supporting the growth in terms of the Nifty. We have Bharti Airtel that's topping the charts over there. ICICI Bank, ITC, TCS among the top gainers and top contributors for the Nifty 50. Laggards coming in for the Nifty, you're seeing Axis Bank, IndusInd Bank, Shriram Finance, Tata Steel not doing too well. So yes, move on and let's look at the India weeks also today because of a volatile day that we've seen coming in for the market. So India weeks is as of now up 4% in trade. Let's look at Nifty Bank because some of the names like I mentioned in the contributors of the Nifty 50, they were lagging. So Nifty Bank, we're seeing some bit of a pressure coming in on the private bank side specifically. So watch out for that. Mid and small cap also underperformers there. So yes, and Nifty mid and small cap in the red, while IT and FMCG, they were holding on to some bit of a green there. Let's see what shapes up in the second half of the trading session as well. Some stocks that are trading at all-time high levels. We have CRISIL, KPR Mills, Dixon as well as Max Health, which are trading at all-time high levels. So all these stocks are something that we're watching out for. But let's get started. And earlier on the day, we had also spoken to Pankaj Tibrewal, founder and chief investment officer at Ikigai Asset Managers, who believes that the recent correction in the market is quite healthy. And he also is looking at metals and cement sector for 2025. Listen in to what more he had to say.
Couple of sectors which are looking probably interesting and maybe contra at this point of time. One, I believe, is cement. I think the worst in cement is behind us. The second, I think, is metals. It's a complete contra thought, but we believe that the contribution of metal sector to the overall profitability pool in the country is back to 2001-2 levels. And that's an interesting space to be in because two of the largest economies in the world will have a fiscal loose policy. From a 2025 perspective, couple of sectors which are looking probably interesting and maybe contra at this point of time. One, I believe, is cement. I think the worst in cement is behind us. The second, I think, is metals. It's a complete contra thought, but we believe that the contribution of metal sector to the overall profitability pool in the country is back to 2001-2 levels. And that's an interesting space to be in because two of the largest economies in the world will have a fiscal loose policy. The runway for growth from an insurance perspective is very long, both on general as well as life. These disruptions will keep on happening from a regulatory angle. But all these companies are very, very strong, and the growth opportunity is very large. If we get opportunities at lower levels, this is one sector where we should be positive on in the BFSI segment. And also the financialization of savings. We have seen how exchanges, RTAs, depositories have behaved over the last 1.5, 2 years. They have given phenomenal returns. And we believe that in the BFSI space, now there are enough options rather than only depending on banks, whether private or public. You have insurance, you have capital marketplace, you have NBFCs, and whole plethora of other related activities. And hence, I think that the weightage of BFSI in any portfolio compared to 5-6 years back is not only dependent on banking, but the entire lot.
Okay, while Pankaj Ribbewal surely is going to be looking at the metal sector in 2025, but today, metals is the top sectoral loser, snapping its 6th day of gains that it has been doing. But Nigel is here to tell us why is it losing, what is it making it the top sectoral loser today. Good afternoon, Nigel.
Well, good afternoon. You know, a few factors are playing out with regard to the metal stocks. The last 6 sessions, they were ending in the green, as you mentioned. In the last 1 year or so, actually, the metal index has outperformed what the Nifty has done. That chart is telling you the perfect picture out there, despite the slowdown that we're seeing in China. What's played out? Why are they under pressure? Well, a few macro themes seems to be hurting it. Overnight, we had the dollar index that strengthened, and it moved to around 107. When the dollar index is stronger, it normally means negative times for metal prices, particularly base metal prices. So that's a factor at play, and this is post the inflation data that came out overnight. The next is that China is looking to stimulate the economy. They're looking at higher deficit number, that's a fiscal deficit, and they're talking about borrowing more. For this year, in fact, the fiscal deficit is around 3%, which are talking about it going to around 4% or thereabouts. But the street wants more concrete evidence that there is a plan in place to revive the property sector, which they don't see evidence out there. So that's the second factor. The next one is, yesterday you had a lot of these steel stocks that ended at the high point of the day because the steel ministry is rallying. They are saying we want some protection to come about. I think the way the street read it is that it's going to come. So, because we didn't hear anything about this overnight, which you can't rule out, it'll be there in the next few days. That's why that could be another factor. And finally, as you mentioned, some on the street, they have a contra call, like Mr. Pankaj Ribbewal. The points that he made, the contribution of metals to the total profitability pool has gone to its lowest level since 2001. And he's making that point that they're under-owned. And given the fact that China as well as the United States are looking to stimulate the economy, maybe, just maybe, 2025 could be a bit of a better year. So the index is still under pressure, though it's recovered considerably from the low point of the day.
Okay, Nigel, thank you so much for that update there. Nifty Metal recovered from the day's lowest point, but still a decline of almost 1% in the Nifty Metal today. Let's also get you some updates coming in the world of IPO. Now, financial service provider One MobiKwik's 572 crore rupees IPO has been subscribed over 36 times its issue size. Now, the non-institutional quota has been subscribed 59 times, while the retail investors have subscribed the issue 92 times. Vishal Megamart, that's the next one. 8,000 crore rupee IPO offer for sale has not received much of an enthusiasm and response from the investors, with the issue being subscribed 3.84 times. As this is as of 12:30 p.m. that we're talking about. The non-institutional and QIB segment has been subscribed 7 times and 4 times respectively, while the retail allocation is subscribed 1.6 times. Moving on to another IPO that we have, that is Sai Life Sciences. The issue has been subscribed 1.7 times, with QIBs oversubscribing the issue, while the non-institutional segment has been subscribed 1.2 times. However, the retail segment has been only subscribed 0.5 times. So that's the update that we have on all the 3 IPOs that are open for subscription as of now. Let's move on, and staying with the primary market, diamond and jewelry certification provider International Gemological Institute 4,225 crore rupees IPO opened today. Now, speaking to CNBC-TV18, the management commented on the lab-grown diamond side, how the company is poised to grow in the coming quarters. Listen in to what more they had to say.
At the moment, we are growing in excess of 30% in India. For the 9 month ended, we are on 31% growth. I think the key driver of the industry today is the lab-grown segment. So that is what is really propelling the industry forward. And it's a new entrant in the industry. It's been there for the last 3-4 years. So we expect this to it's just a starting point. Because
overall, the margins have been at 66%, which has now grown to 72%. So that itself is an indicator of how the thing is going. Natural is unique, rare, and expensive. And where lab-grown is concerned, it's more affordable. We make more money from the volume aspect, and we make money from the unique aspect. So it's an overall mix.
Okay, that was a lot in the world of IPOs that we spoke about, what is happening in the new IPOs. But now it's time that we slip into a very short break. Don't go anywhere, because on the other side, we'll get you some key excerpts from the exclusive conversation with KV Kamath. So stay tuned in for that. Thanks for staying tuned into CNBC-TV18. You're watching Business Lunch. Let's move on, and in an exclusive conversation, Shireen Palmquist, KV Kamath on regulations in the banking and financial service sector to keep the pace with the innovation, and also asked him his views on allowing corporates into the banking sector. Listen in to what he had to say.
Speaking about regulation and regulation keeping pace with innovation, and specifically as far as the banking sector is concerned, two questions, sir, as we look at the next 25 years. Do you believe that regulation should allow a fintech, for instance, to be able to get a banking license? I mean, the founders of Zerodha in their conversation with me said, we want to be a bank. If we could apply for a banking license, we would do it, tomorrow. Do you believe that that should be something that we consider as we go forward? And two, allowing corporates into the banking sector. This has been much debated, much talked about, much asked for as well. Do you believe that the time has come to perhaps consider that possibility?
See, we need to understand this whole question from the perspective of the regulator. A regulator, primary purpose on the banking front is safety of deposits. So when the regulator feels that there is comfort in fintech or digitech coming in and becoming a bank and taking deposits, for which finally the Reserve Bank or the regulator is going to be responsible for, at that point of time they will allow this to happen. So clearly it's a transitionary process. So as that confidence builds up, that change will happen.
So what does your gut tell you? I mean, if you were to take that call today,
I think,
on the back of what you're
to
seeing?
be very frank, it needs a little more time, because I am seeing signs of rash behavior. I'm being very frank about it on the part of digitally driven enterprises, which I think the regulator has had to manage with great care. If you look at it as a bank, as a banker, if a regulator says that on, say, retail unsecured lending, I have to increase risk weightage by 25 bips, to me it is a signal. Or if another regulator says that 90-95% of F&O transactions are basically where people have lost money, and maybe 60 entities on the other side have made money, and that this funding has come from where? It has come from somewhere within the financial system. Then I think they are not amber flags. They are red flags all over the place. So the regulator has to be careful. I think in the context of corporates, I think there is a different view that was there. These things that I mentioned will be relevant, but also is there going to be what I'd call lending to self, and how to go ahead. So I think the regulator has to be comfortable with these things before we proceed. But to me, the first step is bulking up of existing players.
And you can catch excerpts of this interesting conversation all through the day only on CNBC-TV18. On that note, we're going to slip into a very short break, but don't go anywhere, because after the break, Lukesh D beats Chinese opponent Ding Liren to become the youngest ever champion. More on this story after this short break. Welcome back. You're watching Business Lunch on CNBC-TV18. Let's move on. And competition is continuing and heating up in the quick commerce space, with Blinkit launching a 10-minute food delivery app named Bistro to take on Zepto Cafe and Swiggy's Bolt offerings that are there. Now, Shilpa joining in with us to give us the latest update. What is this new thing that we're watching out for coming in from Zomato and the Blinkit basket over there?
Well, you know, we get everything now in 10 minutes. So as a result, consumers are also wanting their food also in 10 minutes. So now the latest entrant in this space is Blinkit, which has launched a 10-minute delivery offering called Bistro. Now, this, by the first look of it, seems to be a very similar offering like, Zepto Cafe, where there are some snacks, beverages, etc. And these items will be available in about 10 minutes. And, I was just checking the app just a while ago. The app has been launched, but I think most locations, when we check, whether it's in Delhi, Gurgaon, Bangalore, Mumbai, it doesn't seem to be operational or serviceable there yet. So I think it will get operational in the next couple of days. That's the indication. But remember, this is the second attempt of Zomato's at 10-minute delivery. In 2022, they launched a 10-minute delivery service, which did not work. They said they were rebranding it, and then, nothing really happened. Now, this will directly take on Zepto Cafe. Now, Zepto Cafe is its, food offering where you get food items, snacks, even full meals within 10 minutes. And Zepto Cafe also is actually ramping up. That is also looking at launching its own app with a separate Zepto Cafe app, and it will also look at expanding the menu offering. The new app will come next week, and Zepto is also rapidly expanding with about 100 new cafes that are coming in every month in cities like Mumbai, Delhi, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Chennai, Pune, and it is currently seeing about 30,000 orders per day, which are operating across 15% of Zepto's 600 plus dark store network. And it's not just that. Swiggy also has taken a step in this direction with Bolt. Bolt is Swiggy's 10-minute food delivery offering, where Swiggy, the way that Swiggy does it is it picks restaurants within a 2-kilometer radius with quick-to-prepare food items, which is anything from your coffee to a biryani to a burger that it can deliver in 10 minutes. In fact, Swiggy Bolt is also seeing some pretty good success in its early days since its launch in October. Currently, 5% of the orders on Swiggy are coming in from Swiggy Bolt. But remember, Swiggy Bolt is an offering from the main food delivery app, whereas the other two are coming from their quick commerce offerings. Back to you.
Okay, thank you so much for the latest update coming in there. 10-minute delivery surely going to be picking up pace, keeping an eye on that. Let's move on. And 95-year-old KP Singh, who is the chairman emeritus of DLF, sat down with my colleague Shriban to discuss how life could be lonely for someone his age. But that's not something that has stopped him from making his life again. Listen in to a slice of that conversation from our special Young Turks Reloaded edition.
When you become lonely, that's true. That when my late wife died, I would have been normally dead in a year or so, because it's what happens when a person dies and you're so close. You only become what? Watch television and become alcoholic, because all the friends have gone. Actually, today, there's hardly a person of my vintage who's alive. Loneliness kills. Loneliness kills. At that time, I decided myself, not by anything, to hell with the taboos with the world. I will make my life again, which I have done.
Why the heck not?
Why the heck not? Absolutely. Why the heck not? And it's a win-win position. But for others who are insecure, then naturally pass as much as you feel secure. But every person, I feel, must plan for the autumn of their life, because it is not humanly possible that you look for your children to come and meet you all the time, to look after you, because they have their own life to live. Your life should not depend in the old age on children, because everybody has their own life. So plan the autumn of your life.
Okay, let's move on. And we have a new world chess champion, and India's 18-year-old Gukesh D has created history. Gukesh sealed the championship in the last classical game after defending world champion Ding Liren blundered towards the end of the game. Both had won 2 games each in 14-game championship. They were tied until the last match with 6 points each. Gukesh has broken the record held by the Russian Garry Kasparov for nearly 4 decades, who won the title at the age of 22. Now, the prodigy from Chennai is also the only second Indian after Vishwanathan Anand who is to win this title. He started playing chess at the age of 7 and earned the Grandmaster title at 12. President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated the young prodigy on the social media apps, as well as calling his win the result of unparalleled talent, hard work and determination. Okay, with that, it's a wrap on this edition of Business Lunch on CNBC TV18. Thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, you have Midcap Radar.